Hi, my name is Perme Peterson, and I'm with Perme Peterson Associates. We believe that building a culture inside creates public trust outside, which means that you need to focus on building in your teams, inside your culture, the kind of organization that you want and need in order to drive that public trust. And to help you do that, we are providing these public safety culture tips. Now, before we get into today's topic, I want to touch briefly on what culture is. Culture is the way we are expected to do things around here, with the key word being expected. Culture is all around the expectations that we have built with each other and for each other. So today we're going to talk about one of the defensive types of culture, or parts of culture, if you will. And I do want to credit Human Synergistics with all of their research, their models, everything that they've shared and their work in this area. And this is one of their styles that I'm sharing today, and it's the oppositional style. Now, what does oppositional look like in a culture? So the oppositional style of culture has a negative focus, where we're really expected to look for the flaws and mistakes. We're expected to be on the defense, and we're expected to question everyone else and do the finger pointing. We're also expected to be close to the influence of others and to be detached and closed off. So why is this not constructive? We like to question things. And is there a place for this? And I'll say, yes, in American culture, we are pretty oppositional. We like to point out the flaws and mistakes. This is part of our culture as a nation. Now, at the end of the day, though, when you're trying to come to a decision, you're trying to really garner some great teamwork, or really help boost the morale within a department, bring new ideas in. These types of things are not going to serve that outcome, that purpose, what we're driving towards. They may be helpful in picking pieces along the way, but we're really picking apart instead of building up. So briefly, what does this sound like or feel like within a public safety organization? Now, in public safety groups, the oppositional style of culture can come out in a variety of ways. And remember, it's about how much we actually have these expectations, how deeply they run. Because remember, American culture, we like to point out the flaws and mistakes. And when is this getting in the way? So, what could it look like? What could it sound like? Well, it could sound like cynicism and sarcasm. Skepticism, well, like, I only trust them as far as I can throw them. Or when the call comes out, who stubbed their toe now? Or you hear that somebody messed up. Well, I'm not surprised that happened. You know, we really focus on this a lot in public safety, right? And it's not to say that this isn't maybe a needed coping mechanism at times. And then we have to stop and say, is it getting in the way? Now, the second one is complaining. How many times do we hear people going to the office, going to the chief's office, going to their supervisor's office to complain without any solutions? That's where this lives. It's, I can't believe they did that again. And why aren't you taking care of that over there? Did you see what they did? And why does this always happen to me? All the complaining. And the last one, Monday morning armchair quarterbacking. In any organization, this can be a problem. And it's going to happen to some extent because in public safety, you work nights, you work weekends, and the supervisor, even in the best day, can't be at every single call and shouldn't be. People should be allowed to go out and make their own decisions and do their jobs with that autonomy. And there's always got to be that checks and balances system on the side. With that, we have to be careful about how we focus on this and then what message comes out later. I'll get to that in a moment. But what might this sound like? It might sound like, well, good thing the call turned out right because they did a lot of things wrong. Or somebody gets called into the supervisor's office to talk about the call from the night before, and that person walks away with I couldn't have done anything differently. Why am I getting yelled at? Why am I getting in trouble for this? I did the best I could. It's about pointing out those flaws and mistakes. Now, in public safety, what might this feel like, this type of culture or this cultural style? it might feel really negative, like there's not a lot of positive stuff going on, or people aren't talking about positive things. It might feel like there's a lot of conflict, or it's very critical. You feel that heaviness about this? That leads into, only safe decisions here, because it feels like if I try to make a risky decision or put a new idea out, it's going to get picked apart and shot down. Let's move into our tips on how we can tackle oppositional cultural expectations and instead reinforce cultural expectations that are more constructive. Here are 3 tips for you on how you can move from oppositional cultural expectations into something more constructive. The first one is around moving from complaining to coaching, and this is about mindset. Now, we might need to complain to our peers because we're frustrated. And how are we appearing to everyone else? How are we showing up? And is that authentic on how we're showing up? That part about being authentic really comes down to the mindset. And if I have a mindset of coaching people instead of complaining with people, that turns the tide. Now, I want to make a comment here about coaching. I know that in some organizations, when we're talking performance management, coaching isn't a good thing. It means that I've messed up and now I have to get corrected. That might be. What I'm talking about here is coaching in the sense of helping someone improve in the grand scheme, really taking the time and mentoring them and helping them feel fulfilled and satisfied in their career. So really, I'm talking to the formal leaders out there and also the informal leaders. You know who you are. So I said mindset. Part of this is growth mindset, really believing that people can change and they can get better. And here's how you start doing that. When you enter into those conversations about helping people grow, helping people change, start pointing out patterns and talking about, I've noticed this and I'm wondering about it. Can you tell me more? Or help me help you. We've heard that one before, right? It's about letting the person in on this instead of just telling them what they need to change. Help them be part of that change process. So let's go to the second one. And it's about recognition and reinforcement. And this is about good performance. This is about recognizing good performance. Because when we're constantly focused on pointing out the flaws and mistakes, that's what's going to grow. What we focus on grows. So if we start focusing on the good behaviors, the good performance that we're really proud of, happy with, satisfied with, then that's going to help people focus their energy on where they need to go instead of keeping us mired down in, well, I made another mistake and, I did that wrong again and, I hope I don't do it wrong this time. Those kind of thoughts. We want people to launch up and go to a more constructive place. The last thing I'll say about this that I want to reinforce is that not only is it about recognizing good performance, but it's about talking it up, reinforcing it, telling those stories about when people did things that were in line with your mission, that were in line with the values, good jobs that people did, so that others have great stories to work off of to keep moving forward. And remember, with both of these, it is about helping people realize the things that they can start doing or build on instead of only talking about what they need to stop doing. So for the third one, it's support, emphasizing support. Now this might sound like a no-brainer. Duh, Amber, we need support and people need support. Now we can come at this at a couple different angles. First, I can come at it and think like, well, I'm giving people support. I'm telling them what they need to change. I'm giving corrections when needed, and our EAP is always available. That's not good enough. In order to really help put the support part in, we're talking about that coaching, that mentoring piece. So how can you help people realize that you are there to support them and help them grow? Because remember, when we help people grow, everybody benefits. We all reap the benefits of good performance. So can we emphasize support even in small ways? And remember, even if this is a duh, Amber moment, it's all the little things that we do and the way that we say them as leaders that really reinforce to people what's important. And if they only hear complaints, and if they only hear what people are doing wrong and not what they're doing right, do they feel like they're supported? And so we support them through mentoring, we support them through recognizing their great behavior, and we come to them and say, what do you need help with? What can I help you grow with? Is there anything that you want to change that I can help with? It's about offering that support and being there. And then, this is the cherry on top. When you see people supporting others, you reinforce that. You reinforce them supporting others, because you don't want it to have to be only the leaders within an organization supporting everybody else. We should all be supporting each other, formal and informal leaders. So if you have someone who's doing a great job supporting others, that's one of the more stories that you need to tell. So if you want this in a PDF format, I'm happy to send you these culture tips for today on the oppositional style and how to shift that to something more constructive. And as always, if you have questions on how you might bring this to your organization or how you can start to put these tips into place where you work, please let me know. I will put our contact information in the comments. Have a great day, be safe, be well, and we'll see you next time.